الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العالمين، وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى، ولك الحمد إذا رضيت، ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. صل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمينه على وحيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. With the respected brother and sister in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything we have. وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِّعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. And we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our needs. All our needs are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including your provision, rizq. فَابْتَغُوا عِندَ اللَّهِ الرِّزْقَ. Ibrahim alayhi salam telling his people. The respected brother and sister in Islam, we come to remind ourselves of our duties and obligations, to support ourselves in fulfilling the big mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has assigned to us, and that we are supposed to commit to it, because that's what it means to be a Muslim, to commit to a big mission with big goals. So you need to strengthen and support each other. That's why the Quran praises الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. They remind each other of their truth and their obligations and duties, but also they support each other in fulfilling them. Last time we talked about very serious deficiencies and ignorance when it comes to the understanding of many Muslims of their deen, and when it comes to the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Serious deficiencies and a lot of ignorance, unfortunately. It's bad, but it can be fixed. If people have the will and people get serious, we can fix that. We reduced a great religion, very inspiring, very empowering religion that created very great success stories in the worst condition you can think of. At the time, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, it is this deen that transformed those individuals. It is this deen that built that community and that created that great success story. But when it was properly understood and when it was taken seriously, we reduced that great religion into a short list of do's and don'ts. Some rituals and some muharramat, things that are forbidden, and unfortunately some people keep shortening even the list. Even that list is also, they keep shortening it. So the trend is toward making this religion became very superficial, very shallow. And some people also made it very rigid. So it's direction to rigidity or to shallowness. On the other hand, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the main relationship we have, which should be characterized, it's multi-dimensional relationship. It's based on love and gratitude and dependence and tawakkul and reverence and ta'zeem and so many components and dimensions in that relationship. We took that and reduced to simply we are obeying Allah just because we want to avoid punishment. Also, again, reducing something great to something very shallow and very superficial. So rather than worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of love and gratitude, now became obeying Allah because we have to. It's almost, we turned worship into forced slavery. We just worship because we have to. It's not like we are motivated to worship, but because we just don't want to be thrown in hellfire. And that's why we ended up in this situation that you see. Lot of stagnation, both in here and in the Muslim world, unfortunately. We concluded that, unfortunately, this is what happens over the centuries, this reduction of Islam and shrinking it. And it happened by design. It did not happen by coincidence. Because those rulers and families, dynasty who were ruling, and they were oppressing people, they don't want the true Islam to be spread. So they sponsored this shallow understanding of Islam. That's why you go to the Islamic library, you find tons of books about fiqh al-ibadat, fiqh al-wudu, fiqh al-tahara, fiqh. Why? Because that's what was sponsored. Because this does not challenge their system or their power, but focus on justice or focus on the sense of mission in Islam, amr bil ma'ruf, and no, these things have faded. So it is about time, long overdue actually, that we rediscover the original Islam, the true Islam that was lost over the century, which is essentially a big mission that you embrace with big goals that you try to achieve. And in Islam, risala bi maqasid. Risala, it's a big mission that requires big commitment to achieve and to try to fulfill big goals. That's what it means to be Muslim, to commit, to dedicate your life to understand and fulfill the mission and achieve those goals. So we linked, we must link the pursuit of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ittiba'u ridwanullah. That's what you commit to when you become a Muslim. That's what Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented in Mecca. When people still did not learn about fasting or prayer or zakat or hajj, all of this came later. But Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam invited people to make that pledge and that commitment, that you commit to seek and pursue Ridwanullah, whatever it takes. To pursue Ridwanullah, whatever it takes. To pursue and never take it for granted. Never take Ridwanullah for granted, that Allah is pleased with you. Should never take you. It's something that you work for it all your life. So that's the commitment. And how this can be achieved? By understanding and fulfilling Muradillah. By understanding and fulfilling Muradillah. Understanding what the purpose of Allah, the divine purpose, and fulfill it to the best of your ability. Spare no effort to understand and fulfill the purpose of Allah. And that will complete the picture. Islam is a commitment to dedicate your life to understand and fulfill the purpose of Allah in pursuit of Ridwanullah. Ma'rifat wa infad muradillah ibtigha'a Ridwanillah. And you do it out of love and gratitude. It's not because of there is punishment that you want to avoid. It's because you are so motivated, you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are so grateful to Allah that you want to do all of this to make Him pleased with you. And the verse so Iman was described in many parts of the Quran, Iman and Amal Salih, faith and good deeds. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل. Iman is what resides in the heart, and it is confirmed by action. The question is, what is that action? That's where people differ. What is this action that translates the Iman or expresses the Iman? Some people, they think that when they pray, fast Ramadan, perform those basic duties, that's the Amal Salih. No. Some people, they think that on top of this, if they do some good deeds, some charity, some volunteering, that's it. No, the verses are very clear. What is required is to do your utmost. That's why you see the word jahadu fi sabilillah repeated in Quran. Jahadu, again, this word jihad need to be clarified. Whenever you come across this word in Quran, don't think about fighting or violence. That has a different word. That's called qital. Jihad fi sabilillah, meaning you do your utmost. You spare no effort in fulfilling that mission and in achieving those goals. So it is Iman that reaches the level of certainty, as the verse in Surah Al-Hujurat says, that translates into doing your utmost fi sabilillah. Innama, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ala sabil al-hasr, exclusively, إنما المؤمنون الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله ثم لم يرتابوا وجاهدوا في سبيل الله بأموالهم وأنفسهم أولئك هم الصادقون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is defining the true believer in exclusive terms are the ones who believe in Allah and His Messenger, and their belief reaches the level of certainty, ثم لم يرتابوا, and then translated into what? Translated into doing everything they can fi sabilillah. And then the verse concludes by saying these are the true believers. أولئك هم الصادقون. Remember, ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل. What resides in the heart and it is confirmed by action. So Iman, Amal Salih, everybody agrees. ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل, confirmed by action, but people don't agree or don't know what is really that action. And remember the verse in Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا ارْكَعُوا وَاسْجُدُوا وَاعْبُدُوا رَبَّكُمْ. طيب. That's what many people think, that's it. And then says, وَافْعَلُوا الْخَيْرِ وَجَاهِدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَجَاهِدُوا فِي اللَّهِ. So, pray, make ruku', sujood, that's representing all the ibadat. Worship, that's it, no. And do good, فعلوا الخير, that's it, no. وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده. In doing good, you do your utmost. If you can give في سبيل الله $1,000, you don't give 900. That's doing your utmost. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you to do everything you can. That was what was in the mind of the Sahaba when they came to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they declared their shahada. That's what was in their mind. And that's the heart of Islam. That's the essence of Islam. And unfortunately, that was lost over the centuries and need to be revived. If you want to be specific, what is this action? آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل. We were talking about that action in Islam can be divided into two major categories. One is called tazkiyah, self-development, self-purification, etc. And then islah, that's what you do to make this world a better place. Tazkiyah is what you do to make yourself a better person. Islah is what you do to make this world a better place. So you want to know where do you stand with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Hold yourself accountable on these two fronts. When you go to sleep, ask yourself, what did you do today to be a better person? In what way you improved? What is it that you learned today and you implemented that makes you a better person? And then ask yourself what contribution you made. What difference you made in this world? What did you contribute? You volunteered your time, you gave your money, you shared your skills, you shared an advice or knowledge that you have with others, etc. These are the actions. It's not just praying and fasting. These are the basics. But it is what you do to be a better person and what you do to make this world a better place. And of course, when I say to make this world a better place, that includes people and including conditions. What did you do to make people around you become better people? And what did you do to make the conditions around you better conditions? That's the heart of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar is basically the heart of this deen. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He defines this ummah, defines it with Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. When He says this ummah is special, He mentions Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. That's what makes you special. And then other verse in Surah Al Imran talks about taqwa, تقوا الله حق تقاته, talks about unity. You need to organize and come together united. Why? وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ لِلْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. You do all of that so that you can achieve this mission. And then in Surah Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines believers. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. Believing men and women, they are allies of one another. They enjoy that which is good and forbid that which is evil. In Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, describing the community of believers, the best way to describe it is with this mission. الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Wherever we settle them, what do? أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ وَأَمَرُوا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَنَهَوْا عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. Wherever they settle, wherever we settle them, they establish prayer, they pay zakat, that's between them and Allah. What else? And then they enjoin that which is good and forbid that which is evil. That's how great our religion is. That's how much motivated we should be. That we should always remember who we are. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who ijtabakum, Allah selected you for a great mission. It's a great honor, but also great responsibility. It's a great honor for Allah to choose you to do His job, to do His work, to do the work of Allah. It's a great honor, but also it is great responsibility. وَإِنَّهُ لَذِكْرٌ لَكَ وَلِقَوْمِكَ وَسَوْفَ تُسْأَلُونَ. It is an honor for you addressing the Prophet and to your people and for your people, but you're going to be held accountable. It's a great honor and a great responsibility. And then this fear of the punishment should be the last resort. When everything goes wrong, when you forget all of this, when you forget and when your iman goes down to the minimum, then you worship out of fear of punishment to do the minimum. But that should be temporary until you pick up, until you refresh and your iman. I use the analogy of the spare wheel. You know the spare wheel? You use it when you have a flat tire until you fix the original. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. In our worship to Allah, we worship Him out of love and gratitude. But when iman goes down, that's the last resort. We worship for temporary, out of fear of punishment, until our iman picks up again and we become motivated to do more, to do the maximum, not the minimum. Because worship out of fear will make you do the minimum. Worshipping out of love and gratitude will make you try to do the maximum. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again, tazkiyah and islah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do your utmost on both. When it comes to the taqwa, Quran says, ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatih. Not have some taqwa, have the maximum you can. As is His due, as much as Allah deserves. Which is a state that you will never reach. You can only come close to it. You will not reach, you will never be in a position to say, Alhamdulillah, my taqwa is 100% now. You can't. It's not going to happen. You can only come close. 80, 85, 90, 91, 92, etc. You can keep pushing yourself to get close. But you should never take anything for granted. And then when it comes to jihad, which means doing what fi sabilillah, also وَجَاهِدُ فِي اللَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادٍ. And this came after worship and after فعل الخير. اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم وافعلوا الخير وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاد. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do your utmost on both fronts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be a better person and stronger person every day. المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to maximize your contribution to the greater good. Allah wants us to be difference makers. That when we settle as individuals or as a community, when we settle in a place, we make a difference. People will notice our presence, not because of the problem we cause with parking. No, people will notice our presence because of the problem that we helped solving. So they start noticing that things are getting better, and then they are told, they will be, when they ask, they find out that because there is a Muslim community that's settled here, that's why things have improved. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to see. Wants to see us doing this, making difference and having an impact. So each one of us should be asking yourself in what way you have improved, and to do that you need to have a plan. Things do not happen by themselves or by chance. Things you need to have a plan for self-development, plan for yourself to develop yourself, and have challenging but realistic goals, weekly, monthly, annual, and hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable, but these are the goals that I set for myself. How much did I achieve and why? Why I did not achieve all of them. And also ask what was your contribution and your impact, what difference you made. Never underestimate anything good that you can do. لا يحقرن أحدكم من المعروف شيئا. Never underestimate anything, especially if that's all what you can do. Especially if that's all what you can do. Never underestimate it. Just do it. Never procrastinate and never underestimate. Never underestimate anything good that you can do, and never delay anything that you can do now. Don't say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, because tomorrow you may not have the opportunity, or there might be no tomorrow to begin with. So make sure that when you wake up in the morning, like you're thinking about ways to make money and to do business, also think about ways to do business with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think about today, what can I do to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to move up in my ranking in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This requires a lot of learning, yes, and requires a lot of commitment, yes. There is nothing in Quran that says things are easy. It requires, this deen is for people who are serious, people who are committed, dedicated, and people who realize who they are, realize their defining mission, they embrace consciously, and then they fulfill it to the best of their ability. There is a lot of learning required, and the key to all of this, the key to start all this process, is to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man arafa Allah ahabba." The more you know Allah, the more you love Him. The more you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you'll be motivated to do all of this. To do all of this tazkiyah and all of this islah, etc. becomes because there is no stronger motivation than love. The more you know Allah, the more you love Him. The more you love Allah, the more you become motivated to do everything. So what kicks off all this chain and all this process is making an effort to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه، نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. It was narrated that hadith, not sure about the authenticity, but it says, إن لربكم في أيام دهركم نفحات ألا فتعرضوا لها. That in this life there are seasons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us seasons to take advantage of them. We know about Ramadan, but we are about to start one other season, which is the 10 days of the Hijjah. Many people don't know that these are the best days of the year. The 10 days of the Hijjah, the 10 nights of Ramadan, and the 10 days of Muharram are very special seasons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His mercy, is giving us that to give us more motivation to reset our iman and upgrade it. So we do work, we do maintenance work throughout the year, and then we have this season to reset and to upgrade and refresh. It was narrated that أفضل أيام الدنيا أيام العشر. These are the best days. They have one of the greatest day maybe of the year. The day of Arafah, the day before Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha itself, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, ما من أيام العمل الصالح فيها أحب إلى الله من هذه الأيام. There is no other days that the good deeds are more beloved to Allah than these days. So make sure that you intensify your good deeds, prayer, Quran, fasting. Recommend if you can fast all of them. Fasting, charity, dhikr. It's like in Ramadan. Just remember the spirit of Ramadan, and that's what we should be doing starting from Monday, I believe the first day of the Hijjah. Those who did not perform Hajj yet, this year you cannot make it, make sure that Hajj is a requirement. It's like prayer. Requirement for anybody who can afford it physically and financially. You don't have to be very rich, and you don't have to be very old. That's misconception. That has to change. If you can afford it without hurting yourself, then it's a requirement that you're failing to fulfill the requirement. Make the intention now for next year, inshallah. And if your intention is sincere, Allah will make it easy for you to make Hajj. So remember that. And then if you can fast the 9 days before Eid al-Adha, starting from the first day of the Hijjah. If you cannot, at least the day of Arafah, you cannot miss it. That's one day that you cannot miss when it comes to fasting. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا توفنا وتراض عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك ومتعنا اللهم بالنظر لوجهك الكريم. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربونا صغارا وارحم موتانا وجميع موتى المسلمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسلم.